I am a traveling man. There are cities in this country I would like to visit. Do any of these cities have NASCAR tracks? Come with me now. I'll be exploring the top 10 NASCAR tracks or race tracks I would like to visit on this edition of Post Checkered Flag. Hey everyone, Mike from LA1 here. Welcome back to the channel to this edition of Post Checkered Flag. Today we'll be taking a look at the top 10 racetracks that NASCAR has to offer, as well as there will be a similar list for Formula One in in less than a week and a half. I have to get that list piled together. So this list will feature 10 NASCAR tracks I would like to visit in the future. Now, there is a ground rule. However, there will be no California tracks. I'm looking at tracks outside California for me to visit. So, with that little tidbit in mind, because I don't want to show no bias here, let's visit the first track. Let's start with the list, shall we? Alright, let's begin with number 10. At number 10, we're going all the way to the East Coast. How far east? And by east, I mean southeast, because at number 10, we got one of NASCAR's most historic tracks, because it used, before Homestead, Miami, and Phoenix, this is where the championship race was held. Of course, I'm talking about good old can we get a close-up of the track, please? Yep, Atlanta. At number 10, we have Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, I actually had a little hard time deciding what I want to do with this list, personally. And given recent events, what's been going on in Georgia right now, this would have been at 7 on this list, but I decided to drop it barely on the list, mainly because, well, there's nothing to do around the track. At least, not right now anyway. As you guys may not have heard, Atlanta Motor Speedway is planning a major expansion on the outskirts of the park near turn 3 and 4. And it does include an amusement park, which, as you guys know on my channel, if you build an amusement park, I will come. And hopefully this new amusement park hotel complex gives Six Flags over Georgia a good run for its money, because I have a friend who went to Atlanta right before the pandemic hit, and here's the best way they described it. Their employees were downright rude, and some of the theming outright sucks. And to be honest, it is no reason why it is one of Six Flags' worst parks. So hopefully this track could give Six Flags over Georgia a good boost. So yep, number 10, Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now let's try something different at number 9. Okay, so we're leaving Atlanta, and now we're heading into the Midwest. And by the Midwest, we're going to do a track that most of you guys are not expecting. Number 9 is, when this thing freaking loads, You know what? I'm just gonna say it straight up. Welcome to Gateway, the only truck exclusive track on this list. It is, the name speaks for itself. This track is not that far away from downtown St. Louis. And plus, if I didn't do, I missed right there. This is actually a nice little track. And plus, I can go up to the St. Louis Art, catch a game with the Cardinals, even though I'm a Dodger fan, although I can blend in quite nicely. And I'm not going to lie, this has the charm of a whole high school stadium, high school football stadium, in a shape of a racetrack. And trust me, that's not the last time you hear me speak about that on another racetrack, foreshadowing. And overall, and I believe there's also another Six Flags park, although, to be fair, it's a lot nicer and have much nicer employees that don't flip people off for criticizing them. Yes, that did happen. I forgot to put that in earlier. So, either way, yep. Number 9, Gateway Raceway. Yeah. All right, so we did one Southeast region and we went to the Midwest. How about we do a trip to the Northeast? More importantly, there was a certain track that we was sorely missed last year. And it was sorely missed. And that track ended up being Watkins Glen. That's right, we're heading to the Glen. This is my number 8 is Watkins Glen. Mainly because I had to figure out a way to get a road course in here. And yes, I know Circuit of the Americas is now added, but rest assured, I am planning on doing a Formula 1 equivalent to this list. And I can tell you it's on this one, but for the sake of this one, this Circuit of the Americas as well as Road America won't be on this year's list. Sorry, guys. What is about this track that I would like to attend a race? Well, mainly because, well, look how much room it is to camp at the Glen. And plus, I could easily make this a week and a half trip out of this track. I can go visit sites in New York, in the Big Apple, while at the same time, maybe visit Sleepy Hollow or all that stuff. This is visiting a lot of the historical sites here in the Big Apple. But although my big concern is, and I almost left this off the list as we regard this, is when are they going to upgrade the grandstands? Because right now is the traditional grandstands that you see at every football game. That is probably my only big issue, but holy crap. The camping style of this track is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, Watkins Glen at number 8. And that is pretty much the only road course on this list. Or is it? Okay, after a trip to New York, now it's time for a go transcontinental. Well, not all the way, and we're going to be landing back on the West Coast. And no, it is not California, Instead, instead it's going to be kind of close by. It's going to make it easier travel. I'll get to that in just a minute. And this is the only West Coast track that made this list. Of course, I'm referring to good old Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I mean, what else do I have to say? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And to be honest, this track looks like a raving good time. And that's not even, I mean, sure, if the track is really close to the Las Vegas Strip, and that's another good reason to spend your money here. But another good reason to spend your time here is the Neon Garage. Yes, they use it on the infield for an interactive fan experience, and trust me, you'll be seeing that, hearing that phrase a lot here as we get closer to the top tracks on this list. Of course, that's true, but also, for me anyway, it's an easiest track to get to from here. All I gotta do is catch a flight from LA or Long Beach, and it's only like hour and 10-minute flight from here to Vegas to get there, and just find a hotel casino close by, and I could get it in here. Just as long as it's not a Spirit Airlines flight, as I mentioned, because that airline is a shithole. So, yeah. Number 7, the only West Coast track on the list. Las Vegas, Nevada. And also, depending on which, either way, considering how long this track is, you can either see the Raiders and or the Golden Knights. So, either way, your entertainment dollar is not wasted in Vegas. And remember, like I said in the intro to this clip, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Okay, coming up on the halfway point on this list. This one is kind of different. We're going back on the East Coast, and this is probably one of the more scenic tracks on the circuit, but it also has the strangest layout. And by that little tidbit, what I just said, probably gave it away. At number 6, it is Pocono. And well, one of the reasons is extremely obvious, mainly because there's only three turns, yet with the infamous what turn 4. But one of the other reasons why I want to visit Pocono is because, well, look at the scenery. This is incredibly, very, very nice. And to be honest, and this is, again, this is where the camp out is really going to be coming nice and handy. Handy here. And what I also like about this track, and I would like to see it come here in person, it's about what we're about to see coming up. And oh, there's the infamous what turn 4 is this area right here. Look at the grandstands, how about the grandstands? As well as this area. This gives off an area kind of similar to Churchill Downs, which honestly is absolutely amazing. So yeah, after a very brief description, number 6 is Pocono. Alright, let's stay on the East Coast for a little while. And more importantly, I like NASCAR history. Thinking about tracks past and present. But with all the talk about North Wilkesboro coming back, I want to visit a track that screams NASCAR, which is why at number 5, at the halfway point, is NASCAR's only original track on the schedule. At number 5, it's Martinsville. Yes, this is the only original track still left on the NASCAR schedule. And to be honest, can you blame me for making this choice? Because A, Martinsville has a lot of history, and 2, it has a lot of fun moments here. Bubba Wallace's Black Lives Matter car, which pretty much launched him to the superstardom, or criticized, depending with your political party affiliation. Chase Elliott's epic victory, where Kevin Harvick seriously choked it away. And this is also where Jeff Gordon had his final win, before he retired and I became a Chase Elliott fan. But there's another thing that this track seems to be known for. They're hot dogs. If you watch NASCAR on Fox, which you guys are probably going to be seeing this weekend, NASCAR on Fox cannot seem to shut up about the hot dogs here at Martinsville. So when I come to Martinsville, I want to get a damn hot dog. Yep, we're halfway done. Number 5, Martinsville. Now we're getting into the big leagues, and this has a similar situation with number 6 of the previous entry in Martinsville, minus the hot dogs. And what else do I have to say? This track is historic for one of too many reasons. Because it has not one, but 2 Crown Jewel events. And this year, the Crown Jewel event just got a lot more different. That's right. At number 5, it's the Brickyard. And yes, I'm actually doing the road course layout for this clip here. And not only this is for, not only I want to be here for this race, and if IndyCar had a game, this track would have been number 1 because, come on, it's home of the Indianapolis 500. And many younger F1 fans don't know, before Circuit of the Americas came to be, the U.S. Grand Prix used to be here, running on the aforementioned road course, which we are driving to right now. And depending on, although if it wasn't for the history, this would have been where Atlanta would have been. Because depending on when your race is, there's not much in the terms of entertainment during this time. Probably the closest thing you're gonna get is a warm-up game, getting ready for the Cult Series. And okay, didn't mean to get a penalty there. Although one of the few I missed. And yes, this is one of the things I wanted to see, is try and get a spot in the main grandstand area near the pagoda as we go right by Victory Lane. Although, if you're here, there's also a golf course on this track as well. That's a nice little bit of trivia right there for you. So, yeah, at number 4, the first of the big ones, Indianapolis. And let's see how long this pit stop lasts. 15.6. Not bad. Yep. At number 4, Indianapolis. Okay, number 3. We're going back to the south. And this one and the next one have a similar story, but also has a tie-in to, with Vegas, what happened very recently. And if it wasn't for a certain incident last year, this would have been outside the top 5. But to be honest, it would have been a sin if I just put it lower in here. At number 3, it's Talladega. Because, come on. What else can I say about Talladega? This is the reason why this track in my eyes has been the wild card race. And it was until the Bristol dirt race this year. And you want to hear my thoughts on that? It's coming up in the next post-checkered flag, by the way. And of course, Talladega in Alabama. This track has it all, and recently had a lot of exciting finishes. And of course, it's also known for the big one. Which, to be fair, I think there are a lot more big ones here than it is at Daytona. But a new thing that happened recently was the new garage experience, which intrigued me about going to Talladega a lot more. And plus, come on, Talladega has all that grandstands. Look at the grandstand. And plus, you could actually feel the drivers go by, although personally I will not be near the front row because I still have nightmares over that Carl Edwards crash in 2009. So yep, gotta keep this short and brief. Number 3, Talladega, or as DW calls it, the capital of boogity. Okay, number 2. This one, you were probably wondering, what was this one at number 2? Well, at number 3, when I mentioned Talladega, this one has a similarity. It's also in the southeast, and it's also home to one of the biggest races in motorsports. Guess where I'm going with this? At number 2, you knew it's coming. The Round Center of Racing. It is, of course, beautiful Daytona. Number 2, Daytona International Speedway, the Worldwide Center of Racing, is at number 2. And to be honest, what else do I say? Daytona 500. That race alone is the reason why this track is so high on this list. And not to mention, all the hotels you can stay close by, the airport, which I actually didn't know until 5 Points brought it up in his video, makes a lot 5 Points, makes it a lot easier for me. And there's also doesn't help that there's another track close by, which is on the honorable mentions list because of a certain thing I want to talk about. And holy moly, look at the size of those grandstands. Seeing the color seats alone is worth the price of admission. Of course, it's also home to the Clash of the Daytona Road Course, which probably just doesn't suit the NASCAR Cup as well as the Coke 0400, which hopefully this year's race lives up to last year's race, because last year's Coke 0400 was absolutely amazing. So, yeah, number 2 is Daytona, and onwards to the honorable mentions. Okay, several hours later, I apologize for the delay, but now we're going to get to some honorable mentions. The reason why there's a bunch of honorable mentions, I'll be explaining that in just a second. Alright, the first honorable mention, that being Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I know this one seems to be a sin on its own, but reality, this was a toughie. Consider this in the 11th slot. Whether it's the Coke 600 or the Roval, this is a track I would personally like to see, but wasn't good enough to make the list. Darlington, again, same reason, but the reason why it made the honorable mentions list, because of all the history. The only reason why this didn't make the list is because, well, I don't know which the nearest airport to get to Darlington. Homestead, Miami. This one is kind of a surprise, and considering its close proximity to Daytona, that's probably why I did not put it on this list. And the final honorable mention, Kansas Motor Speedway. Let's be honest here, guys. This track is amazing. Has amazing racing. Even though the last race last season was not that good. And I should make another honorable mention last minute here. This is the last one. Phoenix Raceway. Now, this one is probably going to happen this year. I don't know, because I have family up in that area, because my dad was raised in Arizona. But this track is amazing, and I can't wait to get a lot of shots of this track, because this is probably one of the more photogenic tracks on the NASCAR circuit. Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's jump into number 1. Alright, you've been waiting for this all video. Number 1 on the list. We have pretty much everything. From world courses to tracks, a truck series exclusive. One other track is left. We had a super speedway, we had a road course, we had a major track. What else is left? How about, yep, number 1, it's Bristol, baby. Bristol Motor Speedway. I mean, how could this not be number 1? The stadium-style seating and home to arguably some of the best racing on the NASCAR circuit. And not to mention all the entertainment offerings. You could stay in Pigeon Forge and Gettysville. Or Galensburg, there we go. Or you can spend a couple of days at Dollywood leading up to the race. And not to mention, there's ways you can get to Bristol easily via either Knoxville or Richmond. So yeah. That's it. My number 1 track I would like to visit in the future is Bristol Motor Speedway. And that concludes this list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks, or a week and a couple of days. I should have a F1 equivalent of this list. And although the prices to get to these tracks are probably not as much more pricey than this one. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys past the checker flag.